Hey everyone, welcome back.
Huh.
We're diving into something that's been kind of bugging me lately.
Oh, yeah.
It's this whole thing about how power and play kind of get all mixed up in politics these days.
Oh, yeah. I see what you
It's
mean.
like someone changed the rules of the game and forgot to tell us, like we're using the wrong playbook.
Yeah, it's a weird shift for sure.
I mean, it used to be all about those super serious speeches and those big fancy events.
That's all very theatrical.
Right, all pomp and circumstance. But now it's all different. It's like raw and real, and sometimes it feels like anything could happen.
And politicians are acting a lot more like, well,
Human.
yeah, exactly. Like human. Like
Yeah.
they realize they can't just hide behind some stuffy image anymore.
Is that really working, though? I mean, are people buying it? Like, think about Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Oh, absolutely. Those are perfect examples.
But are they actually good at politics, or are they just good at getting attention?
Well, think about Trump's whole make Canada the 51st state thing.
Oh, yeah, that was wild.
Totally outrageous, right? But it got everyone talking. Like,
True, but did it actually, achieve anything politically? Or was it just for the headlines?
good question. I mean, it definitely got attention. And these days, attention is everything, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's not enough to have some perfectly written speech anymore. It's about cutting through all the noise and actually getting people to listen.
Even if it means saying something kind of crazy.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Okay, so maybe Trump is a bit of an extreme case. What about someone like Musk, then? He's playing a different game, isn't he?
Totally. Musk is all over Twitter, like all the time.
Constantly.
Throwing out ideas, making jokes, even starting polls.
It's like he's running his own little reality show.
Exactly. And it makes him seem like he's one of us, even though he's like a bajillionaire and runs all these crazy companies.
It's like he's saying, hey, everyone, come play in my sandbox. But, he owns the whole playground.
Totally. And this actually gets to the heart of what we're diving into today.
Okay, lay it on me.
So this is all based on a conversation between Russell Bran and Jordan Peterson on Peterson's YouTube channel.
Okay, I've seen that one.
Yeah, so Bran was talking about how guys like Trump and Musk are totally different from those old school politicians.
You know the ones who always act, so...
Like they're better than everyone.
Exactly, like they're full of haughty piety.
Yes. That's the perfect way to put it.
So is that what we're talking about here? Is play like the new language of power?
I think it's definitely becoming a way more important tool than it used to be.
And is that because of things like social media and all these new ways to communicate?
Yeah, for sure. Technology is a big part of this. The rise of social media and these long podcasts has made it way easier for people to just talk to each other.
Okay, so it's not just about politicians being funny or making memes, right?
Right. It's more about being real, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like actually engaging with people and maybe even showing that you're not perfect.
Like letting your guard down a little.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of hiding behind some carefully crafted image.
Like Pierre Poilievre in Canada.
Oh, yeah. Good example.
He's probably going to be the next prime minister out there, right?
Probably. Yeah.
And he chose to do a super long podcast with Jordan Peterson instead of going on a regular news show.
Exactly. And that tells us something, right? It shows that he's not afraid to just have a conversation and let people see who he really is.
So he's comfortable with not being in total control.
Yeah. And maybe even a little playful, you know?
Okay. I'm seeing how play could be powerful in politics, but I'm still not totally convinced.
What do you mean?
Couldn't all of this just be another way to manipulate people? Like a distraction from the stuff that really matters?
That's a good point. It's something we need to think carefully about.
Because play can be fun and all, but...
But it can also be used to trick people.
Exactly. Like those trickster figures in myths and stories.
Right. They use humor and playfulness to get what they want.
And maybe that's what some politicians are doing too.
Could be. So how do we tell the difference then? How do we know when someone is being genuine and when they're just playing us?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think that's what we need to explore as we keep going with this deep dive.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot more to unpack here.
All right, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's look at some more examples and see how this whole playful thing can be both good and bad in the world of politics.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so first up, so where were we?
Well, we were talking about play and how it's kind of hard to define.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's slippery, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
What even counts as play when we're talking about politics?
Right. It's not like they're out there playing hopscotch or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are we actually talking about here?
Okay, so I think when we talk about play in this context, it's like a whole bunch of different ways of talking and acting.
Okay.
And they all have a few things in common. They tend to be kind of spontaneous and off the cuff.
Like they're not reading from a script.
Right. And there's often humor involved, too.
Okay. And like they don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. They're willing to poke fun at themselves or, like, break the rules a little bit.
It's like when a politician makes a self-deprecating joke on Twitter.
Totally. Or, like, jumps on a trend as meme.
Okay, I see. So it's about showing that you're human and relatable.
Exactly. Like, you're not some robot in a suit.
But haven't politicians always done that to some extent? Like told funny stories or tried to connect with people on a personal level?
Yeah, of course. But things are different now.
How so?
Well, for one thing, the scale is just massive now.
Because of social media and all that?
Exactly. With social media, they can talk to millions of people instantly.
And it's not filtered through the news or anything?
Right. It's direct and unfiltered.
That's interesting.
And then there are those long podcasts, too.
Oh, yeah, the ones that go on for like hours.
Yeah, those give politicians a chance to actually talk about stuff in depth.
Not just sound bites.
Yeah, and to really show their personality, too.
Okay, so it's not just about telling a good joke at a rally anymore.
Right. It's about building this whole online persona that feels real and authentic.
Which brings us back to that whole manipulation thing. Because how do we know they're not just playing us?
Yeah.
Like maybe that authenticity is just another performance.
Yeah, that's a real danger.
So how do we avoid getting fooled? Like how do we develop that critical ear you were talking about?
Well, I think the first step is just being aware that manipulation is possible.
Okay.
We need to remember that play can be used to distract us or to downplay serious problems.
Oh, we can't just believe everything we see and hear, right?
Right. We got to look deeper and ask ourselves why a politician is communicating in a certain way.
Like what are their motives? What are they trying to achieve?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not about rejecting humor or spontaneity altogether.
No, not at all.
It's about being aware of the potential pitfalls and demanding more from our leaders.
Exactly. We need to hold them accountable for the substance behind the style.
Right, because style without substance is just...
Empty.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
Isn't there a danger of being too cynical? Like
Yeah.
too suspicious of everything a politician does?
Yeah, there's definitely a balance to strike.
We don't want to become so jaded that we just tune out completely.
Right, because there are politicians out there who are trying to use these new tools for good.
Yeah, to connect with people and have real conversations.
And to build trust.
Okay, so it's complicated.
It really is. We're in uncharted territory here. The rules are still being written.
And it's up to us to figure out how to play the game.
Exactly. We need to figure out how to navigate this new landscape of political communication.
And how to make sure that play is a force for good.
Right? Not just another tool for manipulation.
Man, this has been a really thought-provoking conversation. I'm already seeing politics in a whole new light.
That's great to hear.
But I'm still wondering about something.
What's that?
I'm still wondering if this whole playful politics thing actually works. Like, does it really change anyone's mind?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
Or is it just a way for politicians to seem more likable without really changing anything?
I mean, it's probably a bit of both, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like if a politician can connect with you on a personal level, make you feel like you know them.
Like they're real people.
Yeah, then you're probably more likely to trust them.
But that trust doesn't mean much if they don't follow through.
Exactly. You can be the most charming person in the world.
But if you don't actually do what you say you're going to do...
Yeah, then people are going to see right through you.
So it's not enough to just be good at Twitter or be funny.
Nope.
Yeah.
Got to actually deliver on your promises.
Thinking back to Bran and Peterson, though, they seem to think this whole play thing might be a sign of something bigger.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like maybe the way power works is changing. Like maybe those old top-down hierarchies are breaking down.
That's interesting.
And we're moving towards something more like decentralized leadership.
Where it's not just about who's in charge.
Right. It's more about who can connect with people and build relationships.
Yeah, that makes sense. Think about how social media has changed things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now anyone can challenge the people in power.
And hold them accountable.
Exactly. The playing field is a lot more level now.
And politicians are having to adapt.
The smart ones are embracing this new way of doing things.
They're being more open and accessible.
And engaging.
Yeah, they're building communities, even if it's just online.
So in a way, it's like play is becoming a kind of political currency.
Whoa, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It used to be all about backroom deals and lobbying.
And media appearances.
Now it's about going viral and building a following online.
And that makes me wonder about what this all means for democracy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a big question.
Like, if play is so important for getting and keeping power,
how do we make sure it's used for good?
How do we stop it from just becoming another tool for manipulation?
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it?
It feels like we're making up the rules as we go along.
Definitely. We need to be really careful and really critical.
We can't just get swept up in the fun of it all.
Right. We need to be asking those tough questions about what's really going on.
Like, why is this politician acting this way?
And what are they trying to achieve?
And we need to call them out when they're using play to manipulate us. It's not just about being entertained.
It's about being informed.
And engaged.
And discerning.
We need to recognize that play can be a force for good.
But it can also be weaponized.
Wow, this conversation has really got me thinking. I'm going to be looking at politics in a whole new way now.
Me too. It's a fascinating topic.
And I think it's only going to get more important as we move forward.
Definitely.
So for all you listeners out there, I hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought too.
Yeah, keep an eye on how politicians are using play.
Ask those tough questions about their motives.
And don't be afraid to call out the BS when you see it.
Because the more aware we are of this stuff,
the better equipped we'll be to use it for good.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Until next time.
Stay curious.